We've got a new drawing for you now in this chapter. It's called Converting Units.dwg. And as usual, you can download it from the website and use it accordingly to follow along with the videos. Now, when you open up this drawing, Converting Units.dwg, take a look at the units that you've got in the coordinates down on the status bar. You'll notice that it's all in imperial units. And if I type units, what you'll find is that it's all set to architectural. And you can see that the precision there in the length is set to 1/4 of an inch. You'll notice that the angle is set to decimal degrees with a precision of no decimal places. Now, this is all set to work with imperial inches, but what happens if you need to convert the drawing units? Let me just cancel the drawing units dialog box first of all. And what you can do is if you ever need to measure anything in context and check the length of a line or the width of a door opening or a window opening, you can use the measure tool, which is in the Home tab on the ribbon in the Utilities panel here. So if I expand it, can you see there, you've got Measure. So if I click on Measure now and come into the drawing area, it's asking me to specify the first point. So with my object snaps, I'll go from here, click, to here, click. And you can see that that is 4 feet 0 inches, that distance there. If I select distance again and go endpoint to endpoint here, that's 2 feet 6 inches. So let me just hit escape a couple of times to come out of the measure command there. So you can see that this is all in feet and inches. What happens if I want to convert that to millimeters? Well, what we need to do is, first of all, we need to scale it using a particular conversion factor, and then we need to reset our units. So if I want to convert this to, let's say, for example, metric millimeters, I know that we're using feet and inches at the moment. So what that means is that I need to convert this by a factor of 25.4, which is 25.4 millimeters per inch. So I need to scale the rectangle in my converting units.dwg file. So I select the rectangle, I can right click, and on the shortcut menu, there's scale. So I select scale, and I'm going to use the bottom left corner as my base point. And then it'll ask me for a scale factor, which I'm going to type in as 25.4 and enter, like so. Now, I'll just zoom out, and you can see this is a much, much bigger rectangle. And you're going to use the measure command again. So back to the utilities panel, and click on measure there, and use endpoint to endpoint. So you might want to zoom in a bit and get that endpoint snap there. And then again, come across here to that endpoint snap there. Now you can see now that it's 101 feet and 7 1/4 inches, which is completely nonsensical in the imperial measurement of units. So I'm just going to exit the measure command, zoom out a bit, and what I will do now is change my unit settings. So if I go to units, just type units and press enter. Now I need to set these to decimal. Go to my 2 decimal places, decimal degrees again, and maybe 4 decimal places like we mentioned previously. Units to scale inserted content, will change that to millimeters. If I OK that now and then measure, we will get a much, much more sensible measurement. So if I go endpoint to endpoint, you can see now that it's 1219.20 millimeters, which when you think about it, 4 feet, normally 300 millimeters to a foot roughly, that works out with the 25.4 millimeters to an inch. So basically what I've done there is that is the same size object, but what I've done is I've converted it to millimeters units and decimal units instead. And that's how you can convert your units using known scale factors. So those scale factors you can go and find on something like Google. You can type in conversion factors from feet and inches to millimeters, and it will normally find you a list of those on Google, and you can perhaps make a table of them and print them out and have them available to you on your desk as you work in AutoCAD.